Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I urge my colleagues on this committee on both sides of the aisle to support the resolution and report recommending to the House of Representatives that former White House counsel Harriet Miers and White House Chief of Staff Joshua Bolten be cited for contempt of Congress. I read with interest in Sunday's Washington Post that the White House's current strategy in Iraq is to press Iraqi leaders to reach political accommodation. And I find it interesting that the White House is not practicing at home what it is preaching abroad. Since March 9th of 2007, Chairman Conyers and I have patiently negotiated in good faith to reach a political accommodation with the White House for documents and testimony relevant to the U.S. Attorney investigation. Unfortunately, the White House has stubbornly refused to move off its opening position, an unreasonable offer that testimony be given without oath or transcript, and that testimony and documents preclude internal White House communications. To have negotiations work, concessions on both sides are necessary, otherwise it's just capitulation. Despite our best efforts to avoid confrontation, Chairman Conyers reluctantly issued subpoenas to Ms. Miers for testimony and documents, and to Mr. Bolten, as the custodian for White House, documents related to the controversy. We are here today because Ms. Miers, Mr. Bolten, and the White House have ignored those subpoenas. We have arrived at this point after a very deliberative and thoughtful process. The committee has held 7 hearings on the U.S. Attorney's controversy and related matters, 5 of those before the Subcommittee on Commercial and Administrative Law. Chairman Conyers has reached out to White House counsel Fred Fielding time and time again to seek a compromise. I'm extremely disappointed that Ms. Miers, Mr. Bolten, and the White House have based their refusal to comply with our subpoenas on sweeping claims of executive privilege and immunity that some experts have called Nixonian in breadth. The committee carefully considered these claims in 2 separate meetings earlier this month. In detailed readings, I found that these were not legally asserted, legally valid. Even if the claims were properly asserted and legally valid, the strong public need for the information substantially outweighs the assertion of executive privilege here. I am also very disappointed that this administration continues to direct U.S. attorneys to prosecute cases that benefit it politically and to not prosecute cases that hurt it politically. I was troubled to read a letter received late last night from the Office of Legislative Affairs indicating that the administration will direct the D.C. U.S. Attorney not to prosecute contempt cases if the full House were to pass resolutions before us today. Given what we have learned in this controversy, the time is long past that this administration ends its manipulation of U.S. attorneys for partisan political gain. That being said, the central question before the committee today is whether private citizens or executive branch officials can simply ignore congressional subpoenas by asserting extreme theories of executive privilege and immunity. Members on both sides of the aisle should answer that question with a resounding no. After 6 years of the Bush administration's vast expansion of presidential power, time is long overdue for Congress to reassert itself as a co-equal branch of government and restore checks and balances in our democracy. If we allow the White House's mere utterance of executive privilege to thwart our efforts to conduct legitimate oversight and gather critical information needed to consider changes in federal law, then we will have set a shameful precedent for many Congresses to come. I hope that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle will stand up for this body's institutional prerogatives by supporting the resolutions in the report, and with that I would yield back the balance of my time.